Hi, I'm Rob Kaczynski, and you're watching TrekCulture.
Congratulations on the film, but I have to say something I'm very upset. What did you have to go and get killed for?
I know. I'm like, I think they were just like, we're going to show you a great character and take it away. But hey, if there's demand, you never know. In true Star Trek fashion, is anyone ever really gone? So you never
Like
know. But I'm just happy I made an impression. That's for sure.
you definitely did because you were fun, you were upbeat, and also you're one of the first Deltons we've had in the last 45 years.
Yeah.
How did that, like, in terms of preparing for the role? I mean, because I know there's stuff on the cutting room floor. Like, I know there's more than we got to see. Like, what
Yeah.
went into preparing that for you?
I mean, I knew that as an actor, like the technical side of things, it was going to be an added challenge. I had never, done the kind of transformation that I had to go through, the 5 hours of processing before you even get to set. The neck mobility, not having like the full range, everything, just this, even the dress itself made with like organza tight to your body in heels. There was a true transformation in posture and energy, and just it's something that you can't really prepare for until like day one comes. Thankfully, we did have camera tests, and that really informed so much of my performance and how I wanted to play Mel. Because that first camera test where, we kind of walk onto the set in full hair and makeup, we have the lights and the cameras. They want to see how it looks, what the shots might look like, what the character looks like, if we want to do any last minute alterations, which we did. So I'm very thankful for that, because that instantly brought me into who Mel is, how she moves, her intentionality, the way she took up space, even when she was just sitting there. I felt like I didn't have to push it that much. I mean, I was just washed over by all of the things I had to essentially put on me and then integrate into my body, that, she just kind of came out. And it was a very cool moment when all of those pieces come together.
There's such a suggestion of like a really big backstory, particularly with Quasi, for example. How much of that exists now in kind of head canon? What do you think is Mel's backstory before we meet her in the film?
Yeah. And it's something I talked to, Craig Sweeney about, and even Tunde about. I think, where does Mel come from? Why is she in Section 31? And I thought, well, she's Delton. There's this code of decorum that she has to follow. There's a lot of rules. And I think naturally she's a bit of a rebel, and she doesn't really want to follow other people's rules. And she thought, well, if I become part of Section 31, she finds freedom in a way. I imagine being a Delton can be isolating because of the nature of their relationships. And I thought, maybe she's seeking community and she's seeking support. She might be harsh, but she's loyal and she's strong and confident. And so being a part of Section 31, it was her being the best version of herself in a different type of Delton, where she didn't have to stick to this like conservative way of living, and she could fully express herself in her sensuality, in showing exactly what she's made out of, and using her powers to her benefit, not as a detriment. And that's what I thought her backstory was. She was really looking to escape where she grew up and where she was, and join something different and be challenged.
That is actually super interesting in that you say that just this week we did on the channel we did a rewatch of the motion picture, so we were going through Aelita
Yeah.
versus Gambata, and you're right, that difference of that conservatism of
Yeah.
the earlier, well, I suppose the pre-Mel, the biggest example of Deltons that we've ever had, versus this is a Delton who is completely like, I am in control, this is my power, I know how to use it. And what also comes across, and again, I'm raging to the sky. I wanted more, but what also comes across is how much fun it seems like,
Yeah.
and indeed ye were having, and how much did that translate on set as well? Like, were you bouncing off each other? What was that like?
Absolutely. I think we had a lot of freedom to play, and everybody, I mean, you're meeting all of these really gifted actors at their most excellent point. We really felt like everybody belonged there, and we were all in awe of each other. So it's such a great opportunity to just do what you're meant to do. And the fact that the first scene we all shot was that first scene you meet us all in the spaceship. We shot that scene for over 2 days. It was like two full shoot days for just one scene. we got to improvise a lot. We got to make each other laugh. We got to really get to know each other through the work and through our characters. And then when you cut, you have moments in between and we're, chatting, getting to know each other, eating, dancing, laughing, like all of the things that when do you ever get to just hang out with a stranger for 17 hours a day for days straight? So it bonds you in a different way. And it's a great opportunity to just be inspired by other people and then take risks. Like it was really fun to be like, oh, well, they're doing that. Maybe I should lean into this and I should try that. So it's great. It's great to be around artists who inspire you to deepen your craft.
What would be an example of some of the improv that made it into the final cut?
That made it into the final cut. I mean, there were so many iterations of Sven, who plays Fuzz, I'm more locked her down, and like all of that between him and Omari. Like there were so many versions of that. And even though it was still in the script, it was just the way that they performed it, like so different. And I think a lot of Rob's improvisation made it into just in the way that he delivers it. The line might be two things, but he'll do like repetition and he'll be like, I don't know what that means, but I'm also not going to be offended by that. Like he just has this way of delivering it that makes it seem so much more like natural and in the moment. And a lot of his stuff made it in. Obviously, Sam's stuttering and the dropping lines and bringing it back up again, like a lot of that made it in because I think it differentiated the character from everybody else. Like he's very intelligent and knows what he's doing, but for some reason he's very nervous around Philippa. So that kind of like accentuated the acting. And oh my gosh, there were so many times we broke because he just kept going and we just let him go. And so little moments like that made it, which is nice. Like it really did. For Mel, I mean, obviously the Spanish and the Spanish accent was something that we wanted to have from the get-go. But I did add a few like little Spanish words here and there. And I'm so happy one of them made it when she's about to fight and she goes, "Hey, amor." And she like before her fight scene, like that was improv and that was really cool in the moment that they left it. So yeah, there's a lot of moments actually.
I did like that as well because I love there is that just that question. I mean, it's brief, but it works of whether you're going to use your like Delton powers on Sam, or we don't know it's Sam at the time, but or just beat 7 levels of tar out of him. And I love the way you go in either direction.
Funny enough, we did incorporate it. I think I came in with that being the first beat where she sits in front of him and she goes like this, because there's a pause. It's like, why didn't he just beat her up and immediately? That she is using it, it's just not strong enough or not connected enough. But in the fight, it was always beyond just fighting for the sake of fighting. There's always an intentionality behind it. And for sure, Mel is always using that to cushion, to buy her time, that she can use her powers to distract and then attack.
I made it. It's the helmet. If it wasn't for the helmet...
It's the helmet's fault. Exactly.
That's exactly it. Yeah. So in fairness, he knew what he was doing, but you get one of my favorite lines in section 31, which was about the prime directives.
Don't get your prime directives in a bunch. I love that line. It's so good. It's true.
Like where does that that kind of this, because one of the things I think I suppose, to be serious, like some of there have been reactions to this film kind of all over the spectrum, but one thing it does is it takes Trek and it sort of turns it a little bit, sort of plays with what's expected. Something like that, for example, would be, the Prime Directive is the most authoritative, massive thing ever. You can't have fun with the Prime Directive. Yes, you can.
You can. You can make fun of anything. Yeah, it's true. It's all hidden in the details. And I think that's, it comes with any territory, that when you try to kind of tell a different story within a universe that's already established, there will be polarizing like feelings and attitudes. At the end of the day, I'm like, I've seen it now, I think 5 times, and every time I see it, I love it more and more. It's just a fun time. It's got the heart and the action and it's so funny. I was, we were in the theater with everyone and I could hear everybody chuckling at different things, and it's fun to experience it like that with everyone.
That is, it's funny because actually that's something I've heard quite a few times. If people are on rewatches are seeing things that perhaps, because
so much that happens so fast. I'm like, you miss things and then you watch it again and you're like, oh, that's funny. That landed better. Or like it slows down a bit more for you. I think when you watch something that's like an action-based movie for the first time and it's a mission, it's like you got 24 hours. This is the thing. This is what you got to do. There's a lot of things you will miss. So I definitely have been telling people like, watch it once and then watch it again.
And I mean, I think I've watched it 3 times now. And on the third watch, picked up things I hadn't seen on the first and the second. If so as you say, death is, to quote Doctor Who, death is man flu in the Star Trek universe. So how would you bring Mel back? There we go, put you on the spot now.
Well, I feel like wherever she went and got diffused into, she's trapped somewhere, whether it's another universe or a parallel, whatever. She is still probably in her outfit. Like, I don't think she's changed in any way. She's like, I imagine she's trapped in time. And it would probably be Sam's character that brings me back. It would be Kwasi, because we have a bond in the movie, and that's a relationship that we developed a lot. Not all of it made it into the film, but you can feel it, that without me, he doesn't know how to make a decision. And I kind of calm him down. He can't be seduced by my powers. So that's like a relationship where I feel like it's actually an equal to me, because, we can actually be like real with each other. So I feel like he would bring me back, find some way to tweak the phaser machine wherever I'm trapped and bring me right back. And I would probably say something snarky like, did you really think that you could get rid of me so easy? How dare you? Like, it would just be like a moment of like, okay, so who are we beating up next? I'm not scared. I'm still here. Next mission, please. Yeah.
Well, look, that is fantastic. Humberly, I want to say thank you so much for your time today. I really, really appreciate it. And yeah, I look forward, in whatever form it happens, I look forward to seeing the return of Mel.
Yes, avenge me.
How has your journey with Star Trek been? Because obviously this isn't your first Trek, is it?
No. So I had a really, really, really teeny role on the Starship Vengeance in oh my God, what was it? Was it Nemesis? No. Was it Nemesis?
Vengeance into Darkness.
Into Darkness. Into Darkness. That's right. And like, that was a really funny experience because like, there were like 5 of us that were, the Vengeance Bridge officers and stuff. And there were like 5 different lines, and we just rotated with each take. We were taking and then it worked out. And then in the end, I got dubbed over anyway because they thought I sounded too contemporary. And I was like, how could I sound contemporary? It's in the future. I'd be classical. So it's like, I was in it for a blink of an eye. So for me, it almost like, it was still cool because I'm a Trekkie and everything. I was like, and everything like that, but nothing like this. This was insane. I mean, mind blowing. And I said this on the evening of the premiere, but like so I got into Star Trek. I became a Trekkie with Next Generation, right? That brought me into it. And then that brought me back and then I went back and I saw the original series. I saw, everything, right? And I love Deep Space Nine. I love Discovery. Love Discovery. I love Strange New Worlds. I love this iteration of Star Trek and everything. And of course, I went nuts with Picard season 3. Holy crap, that was insane, right? It was such a gift. It was such like, it's like Easter on steroids, right? But like, so, I fell in love with the show. It was like, it was my favorite show. And when you're a kid, your brain's not formed enough, you're not smart enough, quite honestly. I wasn't anyway, to understand why I loved it so much. And then as I got older, I understood more and more and more why I love the show so much that I still go back and watch some of these amazing, iconic episodes because it presents in such a palatable way, big ideas that are still relevant to this day. What's justice? What's right? What's wrong? What are you willing to do for justice? When does that go too far, right? In these two sides of these two races that hate each other's guts, whether they be Bajorans and Cardassians and Klingons and Romulans or this and that, right? everyone against the Jem'Hadar or the Borg or whoever it is. Do you know? What I loved was that universally in Star Trek, it seemed like just destroying somebody was never quite the answer, right? That doesn't really work. I love that message. I love the message that we had already, by the time Star Trek, the world of the Star Trek universe starts, on Earth anyway, we've gotten past the eugenics wars of World War III, and we have solved poverty on Earth. All forms of discrimination basically are gone because now we're in the stars, right? And there's this whole other thing that's here. So anyways, fell in love so much with Star Trek, and as I got older, I really understood why. But I remember as a kid, and I've said this a few times, so I'm sorry if I've repeated myself, if you've read it somewhere else. When you're a kid and you're struggling with stuff, or you're having a hard time with things, many kids, right? We look at a cartoon, we look at a TV show that we like, and we imagine, oh my God, I wish I could join them. I wish I could live in that world. I wish I could step into the television screen. And I remember in Next Generation, I was like, I want to be on this ship of the Enterprise with this crew so badly, pick Data's brain, hang out with Geordi and all this stuff. And then as an adult, all these years later, I got to do it. I mean, I remember I had to really, really make sure that I didn't lose it right before they called action. I haven't felt this giddy, nervous butterflies since my very first job, very first take on a TV show. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was just like, oh my God, it's about to start. I can't believe it, and everything like that, because I literally was going, when they said rolling, sound, speed, I was like, in about 2 seconds, they're about to call action. James, get ready, get ready to run out of the tunnel because I was going, you're about to do the thing that you dreamt about when you were a kid. You're literally stepping into that television screen. You're living this dream. And beyond that, very first take, very first scene, all this stuff, I was about to work with Michelle Yeoh, who's been a hero of mine for so long. To put it into words is so difficult, what she means to me and to so many people. She has single-handedly raised the bar and opened doors for so many. And there's not a better person to do that than her. And I am still pinching myself, and I can't believe that I got to work with her. So, I mean, it really was a dream come true in every sense of the word, maybe more than any other experience that I've had, professionally. I think it's the only thing that I can say that about, really, in terms of a dream coming true and stuff. My other one was to become a center fielder for the New York Mets. That I knew that wasn't going to happen at 10 years old, though. So
there's still time.
No way.
I wanted to ask very quickly as well, because Star Trek clearly means so much to you. Like,
yeah,
how do you feel that Section 31, feel as part of this larger Star Trek universe? This kind of this other side of the curtain, if you like. How do you feel that this fits into the Star Trek universe?
Well, see, so again, going back to Sean, it's a great question, but it's like going back to, like, for me, fundamentally, right? The through line that runs through all of Star Trek are these big questions. Yes, it's sci-fi. Yes, it's a world of starships and all these different alien races and all this cool action stuff and war core drive and all this stuff. and everything, and now time travel and everything. But what is it really about, right? I think it's a show. I think it's a concept that's always asking at the heart of what Star Trek means. What makes you not just another sci-fi thing is in the pursuit of being your best self, in the pursuit of what is the next, what is the right thing to do? Do you know? How do we live in not just this society, but now in this intergalactic society? What is your responsibility in honoring yourself? How much do you have to sacrifice in order to honor others? What is the way to peacefully coexist? What is really the meaning of it, right? What can you take and what can't you take, right? What can you take with you and what you can't? Really gigantic questions that go to the heart of like one of the earliest morality plays, Everyman, that was written, right? I think Star Trek is that in spades. At the end of his journey, this man, all these different characters walk along with him on this road, and then he reaches the end of his life, and the only companion that he can take with him are his good deeds. What were your good deeds? What were your good deeds, and what was the price that you had to pay in order to do those good deeds? Star Trek Section 31, these guys, they got to do some dirty stuff. We might not like how they do things, but is it necessary for the greater good? And when is it going too far? When is it not? But it's also a place, and this is why it's Star Trek. Every one of those people, if we really did a deep dive into their backstories, I'm sure Sean and I know I got to go, but really, really quick, if we did a deep dive into every member of Section 31's backstories and stuff, I guarantee you there are things that they're not proud of. I guarantee you there are things, regrets, just like any person. Man, I wish I wasn't that. I know I've got plenty of them. I wish I could have taken that back. I wish I could jump into a time machine and take that away so that I didn't hurt those people. What's a way that I can right those wrongs? How can I use what I know and what I've learned for an actual greater good? Because at the end of the day, with all jokes aside and everything like that, they still freaking care. They freaking care. And they're just people that are trying to figure it out and then do their part in hopefully, making the world, making the universe, whatever, safer, better, right? And a constant struggle of what those ideas are, because I guarantee you that a Cardassian, a Romulan, something may have different ideas, but still Spock, right? He was trying so hard that crushing them isn't the answer, right?
Perfect. 100%.
Yeah. And then with I love what they brought up now and really expanded on in this iteration of Star Trek, with the augments, right? Scary. I understand the fear. Oh, these people could dominate us. Oh, they're scary. Oh, they're so different. Oh my God, they can breathe this toxic environment. Or this or that or the other. Oh, they're too strong. They're too fast. They're too this. They're too that. Gotta stamp them down. But wait a minute. Why the broad brush, right? Maybe some of these people are bad guys, but just like the rest of us, maybe some of these guys are really good guys. And maybe they can be part of a solution or an answer. And maybe you don't have to be so scared of things that are different, right? So I know I gotta go, but I hope I didn't go all over the place, man.
No, James, it was fantastic to talk to you, and it was brilliant to listen to you as well. Thank you very, very much for your time.
Thanks so much, brother. I really, really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a lovely day.
You too, Sean.
Thank you so much for watching this abbreviated version of this podcast. Now, if you go to our audio platforms, you will get the full version of this podcast with this guest. So we really, really appreciate you subscribing to that, and you're just awesome and wonderful. Thank you so much.